What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Satisfactory 1.2. So in the last episode, we made our versatile framework assembler factory over here, and now we're starting to get some versatile frameworks into the space elevator so we could complete phase 2. So yeah, in order to complete phase 2, the last thing that we need to do is create automated wiring. So automated wiring requires stators. We need stators and cable in order to make it. So we could produce some, but we want to automate that as well. And seeing how we're going to be automating making stators, we might as well also be making electrical motors, since electrical stators are what's needed to make electrical motors. And we'll also need electrical motors as well when we do complete phase 2 and we move into phase 3, which I believe unlocks tiers 5 and 6. Yep. And then I think it's phase 5 that has the oil production. So we definitely want to get phase 2 complete so we can unlock tier 5 and tier 6 so we can start doing oil production, and that'll let us progress more into the game. Exciting stuff. I want to check if there's anything. Still haven't done this one yet. We need to do I want to do the extended tool belt one hand equipment slot. Also, we need to unlock this one, the production amplifier, soon enough. All right, so in order to kind of design our automated wire factory, or our motor factory rather, I'm going to use a program called Satisfactory Modeler. Yeah, so here we are in the modeler here, and the modeler is something you can download from Steam as well. Just look up Satisfactory Modeler. Actually, in the Satisfactory page, there should be a link to the modeler in there, and I'll also leave a link to the modeler. But what's nice about this modeler is it lets you know, like, okay, how many machines do I need to build my goal production of a certain thing? So as you can see here, our goal is to produce 5 motors. And so what does that mean? That means we need 4 assemblers here in order to make 20 rotors. We're going to store 10 of those rotors. So we really only just need 2 rotor assemblers here because we're storing half of them in a container. I might be able to reduce this to 3. So now it says 5. And then if I just do 2, we get none in there. But anyways, I do want to store some rotors, so I'm just going to switch that over to... So yeah, I just switched it to 3 assemblers here for a rotor. So we should be making 15. We're going to store 5 in there. And then down here, it says we got 3.75. We need 3.75 to make 18.75 stators. So what we could do there is have 4 assemblers and then just clock one down to 75%, while the other ones will just continue to run at 100% there. And I'll show you that when we build the factory. And then we're storing about 8.75, and then our motor factory, we just need 1 assembler, and that makes 5 motors for us. And then also what's nice about this is if we want to do, this shows us what we need in order to make 10 motors here. One thing you probably notice is that we're using an alternate recipe for the rotors here. So we're going to be using the steel pipe and wire recipe in order to make the rotors instead of the usual, I believe it's rods and screws in order to make the rotors. But instead of doing that, we're doing the steel pipe and wire because we also need steel pipe and wire to make the stators. So it just makes sense that we use this alternate recipe for the rotors, because that same recipe is being used for the stators as well. So as we keep going down here, we can see we need 8 constructors in order to make the wire. So that number kind of sorts out really nicely. And then we need about 86 and a half. Yeah, 86.25 steel pipe, or that we get from our steel factory that we just produced in the previous episode. So we'll need to route another truck from the steel factory into this factory in order to get steel pipe. Now, some people also make the steel pipe at their motor factory, and I'm always like confused by that. It's like, okay, so then what's the point of making steel pipe at the steel factory if you're just going to make it, if you're just going to make a standalone one for your motor factory or other factories that you need. So I'm a just go with what you have kind of guy. So like it's easy enough to just get a truck to bring you steel pipe from the steel factory over to your main factory where the motor factory is going to be, since we're doing that anyways with the steel beam for the versatile framework. So yeah, we need 8 copper wire constructors here, and then here we can actually make copper ingots using a foundry, combining iron ore and copper ore together, and that makes 120 copper ingots per minute for us that could feed into these wire constructors here to make 260 wire. It looks like, no, 240 wire, I'm sorry. So 240 wire, that'll fit nicely on a Mark III belt. And so yeah, this is just a nice way to kind of design your factory. Now what this doesn't do is it shows you how to lay out the machines. You kind of still have to figure that out yourself and get creative there. So yeah, here with these copper ingot foundry, you can see that it needs 1.2. So that means we need 2 foundries, and then we could clock them down to 60% in order to make the 120, or we can have 2 and clock 1 down to 20%. But I feel like it's just easier to have 2 foundries, clock them down to the 60%, makes the same thing. And you know, and if we need to produce more motors, like let's say we need to produce 10 motors, we can increase the amount of ore that we get, because as you can see, we only need 60 per minute in order for this factory to work right now. But if we wanted to double the amount of motors, we can like upgrade these miners into a Mark II miner and get 120 out from a normal node, copper node, or a normal iron node here. So that's another thing you want to consider when you're building this factory, is the expandability, because we may actually need to expand our motor factory so that way we're not just producing 5 per minute here, we're actually producing 10 per minute later on. All right, so that's kind of how we're going to plan our motor factory. So we need a normal copper node, we need a normal iron node that's going to go into 2 foundries that are going to be clocked down to 60% in order to produce 120 copper ingots. Those are going to go into 8 wire constructors, which is going to produce 240 copper wire for us. 90 of that's going to go into our rotor assemblers, and then 150 of that's going to go into 4 stator assemblers. And we're going to store roughly 9 stators in storage, while the rest go into producing motors for us. And the reason why we want to store the stators is, if you can see, you'll see down here, we need these stators in order to produce the last phase 2 item, which is the automated wiring here. So that's why we want to be able to store the stators. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're making this motor factory in the first place, is we need the stators. But since we're producing the stators, we might as well go ahead and produce the motors as well. So that's kind of why we're just building out the motor factory here, because we need the stators, but we might as well also build the motors too, because motors are going to be important for phase 3. And tier, I think phase 3 does tier 5, 6, and 7. Maybe it's just 5 or 6, but I'm pretty sure tier 5 has all the oil production stuff, and so we need motors for that. And it actually might be tier 6, I forget. We'll find out. But yeah, that's going to be our motor factory. And once we get enough stators, yeah, so all we just need to do is combine the cable and the stators. When we have enough stators, throw that into assembler, and we can start producing our automated wire, which is the last phase 2 product that we need for the space elevator. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, now that we have our motor factory design kind of using the modeler, now it's just time to build it. So the first thing we need to do is just figure out where our copper and iron nodes are going to be and figure out a good place to place this. All right, so one major thing that I forgot to consider was trucks need fuel. And if we were to use this node and then this iron node over here, there's no copper. And as you notice, there's no coal nodes around in order to fuel the trucks. However, with these nodes that are over here that I stamped off, there are coal nodes over here that we can use to fuel our trucks. So yeah, we need fuel, but we also need the iron and the copper. So we'll be using these nodes instead, which, I mean, they're closer anyway, so it'll be easier to build that. And then we can use the coal nodes that are over here. They're impure, but we can still use them to fuel our trucks. Because, again, trucks need fuel. Another thing we could do is make a really, really long belt that comes out here and goes into our motor factory, but meh, let's use the trucks instead. So yeah, I have built the road out all the way over here, but we need to go deeper into here, and you can see the structures I made from exploring. But yeah, we need to go into this area to essentially get those copper and iron nodes. Those are normal, and then also the coals so we can fuel our trucks. So yep, I'll come back when that's all done. Okay, and here we are, motor factory all done. I know I skipped a lot of the gameplay, but honestly what happened was my microphone settings, for some reason my microphone was pumped all the way up to 90, and the audio quality for the commentary was pretty bad, and I didn't realize it until after I was done building out the whole motor factory here. So I do apologize for that, but I am for now on going into just the really shorter videos. So the next video, I'm just going to show you how to build the biofuel plant instead of showing you every little thing that I do. Even though like I take 10 hours of gameplay and condense it down to an hour video is still way too long. So I have to condense it down to 20 just so just until I can get like an audience, because again, I'm new to YouTube, and making really long form videos, just YouTube doesn't like that, I guess, when you're trying to build up an audience. So yep, that's going to be the plan. We're just going to do a tour of what I did, and yeah, we'll just take it from there. Yeah, so we got our cable power towers actually going out over here. We also extended the road out. Extended the road and the power towers out here, and then here's our truck stations. So we have coal here, so we can have fuel for our motor factory. And then we have our iron ore, and then we have our copper ore truck stations here. And if we go down here, all right, so we have our copper miner here. This is just a normal node, so we're getting 60 per minute there, just like I showed in the diagram. And then here we're getting coal here. Now both of these nodes here were actually impure, so we needed 2 miners in order to mine the coal here, but they're already like getting backed up because our truck station with the coal is already full. So what you could do is just put an awesome sink here to like eat up the extra coal that you don't need. Same thing with the copper and iron. I just didn't build that out yet. And here's our iron ore. Again, this is normal. So this is producing 60 per minute for us. All of these going up into the truck station here. And again, because I'm severely condensing down the episode, I'm not going to show how I did the belts. I might do a episode on how to do the belts later, but I did use Mark II belts for the coal and Mark I's for the iron and copper, since iron and copper are only getting 60 per minute there, but for the coal we're getting 120. Well, we're getting only 60 per minute with the coal, but I just decided on the 120 so that it fills up faster. Yeah, I call this the West Mine for copper and iron. and also coal too, I guess. All right, so let's go inside the motor factory. So we have 4 truck stations here. So our first truck station is the coal, and as you can see where you got a truck coming in there. And then our second one is our iron ore coming in. And then also our copper ore coming in. Yeah, these are Mark 1s. Again, we're only doing 60 per minute. So we only need the Mark 1 belts and lifts. And we got some more iron ore coming in. And then back here is our steel pipe truck station. So remember, we need steel pipe to make the rotors and the stators. And the steel pipe comes up from here. It comes from underground from the truck station down here up to the factory floor. And then our iron and copper ores coming out from here underneath. I like doing it that way because it's a little bit cleaner, you know, and you kind of get this nice little neat effect and aesthetic. And then I added these stairs up here to get us up to the factory. Okay, so in order to build the motors, we needed 2 foundries here. And each of these foundries is clocked down to 60%. So we're only producing 60 ingots per minute with the 30 iron ore and 30 copper ore coming into it. So we split the iron and copper ore up into these 2 foundries and just clocked them down to 60%. And that is, again, that's producing 60 iron ingots per minute. So we got 60 iron ingots coming into these 4 constructors here. So yeah, we got 4 constructors here that are producing copper wire for us. I don't think these are not clocked down. They just need 15 iron ore per minute. So 60 divided by 4 is 15. So got 15 here per minute. Same thing on this side. We got 4 more constructors, or 4 other constructors over here that are producing the copper wire for us. So as you remember in our diagram, or in our modeler, we said we needed 8 copper wire constructors, and that's where they are right here. You'll also notice that I have a platform up here too, so that way if we need to produce 10 motors per minute, we can add another stack of copper wire constructors up here. That's copper wire. So next thing I want to show you is the assemblers. So this one is the stators, and we have 4 stator assemblers. I just color code them this like purple and teal color here just to make it easier to see. And I think our last one here is clocked down to 75%, just like we did in the modeler. And then down here, this is where these are our rotor assemblers. And I don't think these are clocked down. I don't know why I keep hitting F. I don't. No, these are all at 100%. But as you can see, our efficiency is only at 85 right now. And that's because this is quite the manifold that we got here. We have a manifold of 8 machines. So it's going to take a while for this to equalize and get this up to 100%. But that's okay. Eventually, it will equalize. All right, so since we're producing extra stators and rotors, we have these containers that are storing for our rotors here. So these will store rotors once this starts backing up. And we're using a smart splitter here, so that way once this container gets full, extra rotors will go into the awesome sink here. Same thing with the stators here. We already got like 400 stators stored up, so we're probably overproducing stators. We don't need this much. But that's okay. And once again, we have a smart splitter. The left side is the overflow, and definitely double check your smart splitters here. Sometimes they don't like work for some reason. I don't know why, but like if you try to like put a smart splitter like that, for some reason it doesn't work the first time you do it. So not sure what goes on there, but that's how it goes. And last but not least, we got our motor assembler here. So this is running at 100%, producing 5 motors per minute for us. And then we're storing that in this container here. As you can see, we got 150 motors already. And then we're also got a dimensional depot here. You definitely want to make sure you're continuing to produce your reanimated SAM and SAM fluctuators and Mercer spheres to build these dimensional depots. So that way you can access these things without having to run back and forth to your factory. So yeah, that is the motor factory tour in a nutshell. Pretty much the same. The principle is you want to make sure you make things expandable in case you need to make things expandable. And of course it has to rain during my outro, but that's okay. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Be sure to remember to subscribe as well. I know this was a shorter video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like a new format where I condense it down more and I'm yapping less and just showing you the builds, and then maybe doing a tour later like this video, so that way they're not like an hour long. But I mean, that's the nature of this game. Like there's a lot to cover in these, and so if you didn't get like all the details from the videos, remember you can download the save game from the link in the description there, and you can continue to follow along with me that way. Also had some audio issues, so that's another reason why this video is so short. Like when I was recording the build, the audio was just really crappy and it was not good. So yeah, again, I'm sorry that was a short video, but if you did like it, go ahead, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.